never rests.
Counting colors in the sky. What a thrilling time to be alive.
Good God Almighty. What a
Welcome
morning.
to my nightmare. Welcome to my nightmare.
What a morning. This is not Bark After Dark because it's morning time. But
God.
this is
It feels
this
like
is,
it's been a day.
This is National Signing Day with the Georgia Show. Jake Rowe, Jake Roos, and Georgia came into the day with 26 commitments. And you know, what do you think? What would you have bet on at this point? Maybe 10, maybe half the class signed already?
Right. But I mean, I think by lunch you're probably looking at half normally, something like that. That seems reasonable to me.
26. Georgia
Just
has signed
breakneck.
26. They signed 26 players in a span of 3.5 hours.
A breakneck pace.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
I have been through some things. I've been through some things in our time covering this, Jake. That was one of the most fast and furious news drops I have ever been a part of in my entire life.
It was incredible. The DawgsHQ text thread was not PG. It was not PG-13. It may not have made it to rated R. It was a Quentin Tarantino movie in some respects, but wild morning thus far. And here's what we know. Georgia's bringing in a phenomenal class. I don't think – here's the thing. If Alabama flips Edric Houston and if Georgia gets KJ Bolden later, and we're going to talk about that, if Georgia gets KJ Bolden later, then Georgia's going to lock up the number one class. I'm almost positive. If they don't and Alabama gets Edric Houston and kind of everything goes right for Alabama, then it's going to kind of come down to the final rankings updates amongst all the sites. As far as who's going to end up with the number one class in the On3 industry ranking, a weighted average from all four recruiting ranking sites. But Georgia has 26 in, and the last one was probably, to me, the biggest one of the morning, seeing as how Nate Frazier, West Coast kid, and, there's talk of Georgia adding Trevor Etienne. We believe that's going to happen. Right now I would feel really good about a Trevor Etienne pick to Georgia. Getting all three of those running backs in today, absolutely massive development, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's huge, man. Absolutely. You really, once those whispers started with Etienne, obviously you were hopeful because that's a proven commodity at this level, but you really kind of, there was a bit of, I think everybody kind of looked around saying, can they hold on to these three guys? Because they put together arguably the nation's best running back class in 2024. And you wanted to keep all those pieces in because I mentioned this on the board earlier. This group to me brings a little bit of everything. You've got, take your pick of what you want in a running back. You can find it amongst these three kids. You got speed, you got power, you got size. They got a little bit of it all in there, man. And I think it's a tremendous group. Nate Frazier, a guy, so exciting to see his game, go watch his film. And what's interesting, man, a lot of tread left on the tires because he, essentially was working in a split backfield with Jordan Davidson, who's one of the best running backs in the nation for the 2025 class. So he's a guy who hasn't gotten as many carries as maybe some of these guys too. You go look at Chauncey Bowens. You take him from Florida, which
workhorse.
It's a tough. I'm not glad we're not on the Florida beat today, is what I would say. You're dealing with you're dodging bullets over there. But Bowen's 5'11", 215. Rocked up, a guy with plenty of size, plenty of power. Early enroll, he's getting a little bit of leg up competition, and then you turn over to Dwight Phillips at Pebblebrook. And just absolute lightning, man. 10 ones in the 100 meters. It's just, in that range. So you've got, like I said, a little bit of everything in this group. Now they're all in. That's the case. And Trevor Etienne, we're still feeling really good about that. If they close that out, man, 4 backs of that caliber in this class, especially with a proven guy like Etienne, whoo. Del McGee making up. Del McGee kept the receipts on everybody who came after him last cycle, is what I would say.
Unless something really changes, I expect Georgia to add, Trevor Etienne in the next couple 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think now that the class is in and you kind of let those guys have their moment, right? You've kind of let those guys have their thing. I think, anything is, from any time from here on out wouldn't surprise me. And that's kind of been a little bit of a drama-free thing to this point, but we know it lurks right around the corner. Kirby Smart says humility is a week away. Well, drama in our world is moments away. There's no weeks involved in that. But yeah, what I love about it, Roos, is Georgia gets a couple of home run hitters at running back in Nate Frazier and Dwight Phillips. They get a guy who's extremely versatile in Dwight Phillips, who jet sweep, quick screens,
Sure.
A guy that can, kind of carry the ball out on the perimeter.
Makes me
we were
think
talking. Go ahead.
James Cook vibes.
He's way faster than James Cook. I mean, James Cook's a 4.5 guy.
I'm saying more so in the usage category, though.
Could be
some of those same things.
I was thinking more of kind of like a running back heavy Mecole Hardman type, because Mecole did those reverses and jet sweeps and things of that nature. But the thing I like about Dwight Phillips is, we were talking with Joe Wyndon on Monday, right? And he was talking about, the kid from Jones County. What's his name? Zion Fagans?
Zion Reagans.
Reagans. That's it. Yeah. Zion Reagans. It's who he was referring to. Dwight Phillips is a 165, 170 pound guy right now. Get in the Georgia strength program, get up to 185, 190, right in that area. I think he's a guy that can do a lot of things for Georgia, and you just can't teach that speed. You just can't. And maybe they make him a full-time slot. He's a guy on film that's got some wiggle, and he's a full-time slot. Let's move to that offensive line. That whole crew is in. And honestly, Jake, I'll be honest with you, buddy. When Georgia went on that tear this summer, and they signed Michael Luini, Marquise Easley, or not signed, got him committed. Michael Luini, Marquise Easley, Nair Daniels, and Daniel Calhoun, all in like a 7-day stretch. I was like, come on, man, is Georgia going to hold on to all these guys? Is Georgia really going to be able to hold on to all these guys? Not only did they hold on to him, they held on to him without a whimper, without even as much as a squeaky wheel.
Yeah, I mean, you really never got the feeling that any of those guys were in danger of going anywhere else, which is pretty unbelievable. The only one maybe we all kind of scratched our head about for a second was Nair Daniels after Fran Brown left for Syracuse, and that was just because of the New Jersey connection. And
that was in no way in his own words or anything like that. We just wondered what was going on, and shot a text to his mom, and she reaffirmed their commitment. She said that they were definitely signing with Georgia.
But I mean, very seriously, you look around this group and there was no drama with any of these guys from the time that they went ahead and put it on, man. Look at these numbers, Jake. 6'7", 6'6", 6'5", 6'7", 6'5", 6'6", or I'm sorry, 6'7" again. 371, 365, 345, 335, 315, 335. Malachi Tolliver, the runt of the litter at 6'5", 315. So that gives you a little bit of perspective in terms of what we're talking about here, man. I mean, when you look at guys like Marcus Harrison and Nair Daniels, dude, just absolutely huge people. Nair Daniels, one of the biggest people in the class, regardless of position. And all credit here, like we said, man, you had that little bit of inkling when Fran left. Oh, maybe this will cause Nair to look around a little bit. Stacey Searles, man, just absolutely comes in and knocks it out of the park again. 2 straight classes for him, I think, of really, really solid offensive line gets. Has done a tremendous job coaching it up, but this may be his most impressive work. It's hard. I've said this consistently for about the last 2 to 3 weeks when people have asked me about this class. To me, this is the best position group because it's hard for me to imagine there aren't at least, and I'm saying at least, 2 impact makers in this group, guys who see significant minutes over the course of their career.
Yeah, and I kind of had some messages there, so I might have zoned out if you said this already, but not the strongest offensive line class ever. I mean, I think Georgia probably ended up with 6 of the best 15 to 20 guys in this class in terms of tackle prospects. And Georgia just kind of stacked them up. It's a tremendous job recruiting. It was a team effort to do all of that.
it wasn't a good cycle for it. I mean,
No,
it
it
really,
wasn't.
yeah,
It wasn't.
if you go back, this was not a super talent heavy cycle. I don't know. I think the top rated guy is like Brandon Baker. I think he's like number 40 or 50 or something like that. I mean, he's for a tackle to be, or Josiah Thompson is who it is. I'm sorry. The kid who's going to South Carolina. But you look around, I think there's one 5-star tackle, if I'm not mistaken. Palmer's looking at the numbers I know right now.
Honestly, I would probably say that Thompson may be the second best offensive line prospect that South Carolina signed behind Cam Pringle. I think that would be my number one. And I think he may have been one or two on Georgia's board.
Pringle fell.
But listen, I'll tell you this about Georgia's class: Nair Daniels, Marquise Easley, Michael Weenie, and Michael Looney, and Daniel Calhoun. I feel confident in saying all four of those guys. And I know I'm probably leaving somebody out there. I'm having a hard time. Oh, Marcus Harrison too. I mean, I don't know where he ranked on the board, but I was told at one point that those four were right there among the top 5 offensive linemen on Georgia's board. And Kirby Smart, this is a Kirby Smart thing. Matt Godwin told us this. When Kirby Smart came to Georgia, the whole recruiting giant offensive lineman, that is a Kirby thing. That's not a Sam Pittman thing. That's not a Matt Luke thing. That's not a Stacey Searles thing. Kirby wants to be giant on the offensive line. Georgia's running program is going to – listen, Marquise Easley, going to have to get in shape. Nair Daniels, going to have to drop about 50, 60 pounds because I think he's north of the 370 he's listed at. Maybe north of 4 bills. Potentially. So he's going to have some, they're going to have to work hard, but ultimately no Mongols getting into Athens. That's for sure. There's a big wall there. Those walls have long arms, and no Mongols getting into the Classic City anytime soon because
the Mongolians.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, everybody's welcome in Athens. We
I will say this too. Another one, you mentioned a couple big ones, couple big position groups. I'm going to talk about one of the guys that we were waiting on. Kind of not us necessarily, but a lot of Georgia fans, I think, kind of wringing their hands over the course of the last couple of weeks. Nitro Tuggle. Now
Monday night Nitro Tuggle.
Oh man, you gotta love it, man. I said his mama calls him Niterion. You can call it Nitro. Defenses know him that way. Listen, I love this kid's game. You go watch his film, and I understand it. Look, it's not exactly 7A Gwinnett football. Okay, I get that, but when you go watch it, to me, the shades of Tyler Williams, right, who Georgia signed last year, and who I think still has a ton of upside and can still be a really good player. I know we didn't see flashes in the freshman year because he just wasn't on the field very much. But Nitro Tuggle reminds me a lot of his game. A little bit smaller frame, but high points the ball well, able to outrun coverage, just great hands, a little bit of it all, man. I love this kid's game. I love what he brings to it. He made people sweat it out a little bit. Michigan pushed. LSU was in there.
Never visited either school, though.
And he clearly, he also barely visited Georgia. He just visited Georgia the one time this fall. So,
but I just think a lot of the hand wringing was. I think a lot of the hand wringing was just. If Georgia had a very solid wide receiver class with other guys with him, if they still had Nikar in place and maybe another guy,
sure,
it wouldn't have been as big a deal as it was. I just think they were yeah, I'm going to say it. Some were hoping for worst case scenarios so that they could piss and moan a little bit more. But I think ultimately, I think he was going to take those visits just to kind of experience the process a little bit. But listen, I'm big on I don't post a lot on Instagram, but I keep a lot of guys on Instagram alert because they'll jump on these Instagram lives and they'll just start talking. And you can oftentimes hear them talk with their buddies and they say pretty interesting stuff. And one of the things that I picked up on an Instagram live Sunday when Nitro Tuggle was at a Notre Dame women's basketball game because he lives in South Bend. Yeah. And after I confirmed that he wasn't on campus, making, moves with Notre Dame, I really started to pay attention to that Instagram live, and he was talking to a couple of his buddies, a couple that signed with smaller schools. And he goes, he was very complimentary of Georgia, very complimentary of what he thinks Georgia can be and what he can be at Georgia. And I don't know. I don't necessarily believe that there was ever any super big time concern about whether or not he was going to sign with Georgia. At least there wasn't with me.
Yeah, no, sure. I understand that for sure. Like I said, though, and I agree with you. I think the hand wringing was probably directed about the numbers more so than just the kid. It was, if you knew if he were to maybe sniff around somewhere else, that you're down to one player at that position, a good one, and Sokovie White, a guy I really like, but it was going to be pretty tight. I think this kid is really good. I'm laughing because Brad Bush over here said, "What's the holdup on Jones?" I don't know, man. What was the deal with rushing 26 guys out all at once?
I mean, Jesus, man. Sometimes we're sitting here waiting until 4 or 5 o'clock for that last guy.
It's not even noon. What the holdup? I don't know, man. It's just ridiculous here today, man. It's crazy. That's what I said on the board. I miss the days when we were waiting on Jalil Agins until 6 p.m. Man, those were fun times.
Hey, I got to say something real quick though. It's never too late for a Christmas pageant. Okay, we need. I mean, it's never too late for a Christmas pageant and the biggest damn elf we've ever seen.
Oh God, I'm glad we all got to collectively share that moment. I'll never forget. I was about 4 Sweetwaters deep in the Delta Sky Club, just begging for that to be over when it was happening. Please let me in mercifully.
I was Jason Butt, who does some work over at UGAsports.com but has largely gotten out of the industry. I just, he was like, it was kind of a slow day. And I told him, I said, "Hey man, I'm going to come over. We'll play a little bit of Madden and we'll work kind of on the side and just kind of, take it easy." And he's like, yeah. We'll go out and get some lunch later, all that stuff. And then we ended up sitting on that, whole live stream for 45 minutes and it kind of, took a little chunk of the day out, but man, what a surreal experience that was. So Georgia has one more guy, Chris Jones. I haven't heard anything to suggest that's
no. I think he's got his ceremony set for 2 p.m. That's the only.
Yeah, he actually announced yesterday that he would be signing with Georgia, and he announced that a teammate would be doing a ceremony as well. So, Jamil, listen, buddy, I'm going to tell you right now, I've got 8 minutes if I want to pour one in the morning. So we need to get off this show pretty quick because I got to go pick my kids up later, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But
all right, well, before we do, let's give a shout out to our friends over at GameTime.co.
Yes,
want to have a chance to talk about them real quick. If you're headed down to the Orange Bowl, maybe you can go hang out with Jake Rowe at Dave Chappelle at Hard Rock at the casino. He's playing there. If you want to go see the Orlando Magic,
they tried to kill my father.
Yeah. Orange Bowl tickets. They got you covered on that. Regardless of what you want and where you want to go and who you want to see, Game Time going to be able to take you there. And they're going to be able to set you up. My favorite feature about the whole website, and I tell people about this all the time, I think it's the coolest thing. You can see the view from your seat. I love that, man. You can see kind of what it's going to look like. And it's quite accurate. I did this over the summer, went to a baseball game, and was able to see right where I was going to be. Spot on accurate when I got there. I love that feature. Tickets come to you like that. It's easy peasy. No question about it. Game Time, they do it right. They do it big. You can get over and check them out. GameTime.co. Use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, for $20 off your first purchase. Now, terms and conditions do apply. You're going to have to meet a threshold there. You can't buy Atlanta Falcons tickets and probably get the $20 off because they're giving those out with Chick-fil-A sandwiches right now. But you can get over to Game Time, and they will get you hooked up with a discount using promo code DAWGS, 20% off. And we hope you use it, man, because we do. We love it. And for my money, best ticketing app out there right now. So go check them out. Get your Orange Bowl tickets. Go support the Dogs. Don't make it look like a Miami home game.
That's right. That's right. Yellow cake. All right. So, hey, first of all, we're going to have to talk about KJ Bolden for just a second here. Signal permitting, we're going to try and have a KJ Bolden live. If there's not a live up, it's because Rusty, who is there for us for the network of the whole On 3 crew. If that's the case, he just doesn't have a signal in the building, we're not going to be able to make it work. But if there is, here in about an hour, Roos and I are going to be back on with you. We're going to be talking about this thing. We're going to try to get that announcement for you, good or bad. Have really no idea, but Rusty might, because he just made a post on the board with some intel that you guys might want to see. Come on over to DawgsHQ and check that out. But Roos, I tell you, man, I had a feeling that when this kid committed, that there would be, that there would be more fracas, that there would be another round of this. And listen, I'm going to give him a lot of credit. He didn't put people through craziness for months and months and months. It's got down here to the final hour, and it looks like he's going to end up at Georgia or Auburn. I would not predict him to end up in Florida State's class. But this is an addition that would lock Georgia into the number 1 spot, and would fill a mass. I told, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but I told him, I said, hey, listen, Allison Mastrangelo over at WSB, I did a thing with them yesterday. And I told her, I said, I do report cards after National Signing Day every year. And right now I would give Georgia safety recruiting, even though the position is position fluid with the defensive backs. Can Andre Evans play there? Can DeMelo Jones play there? Maybe. I would give the safety position an F. Add KJ Bolden and I give it an A. It takes,
you needed one. You needed one. And they had,
there's not a better one.
And they had 2 committed at one point. And yeah, you're right. There's not a better one. The consensus number 1 safety in the class by every single service out there, which is insane to me, right? Now, Georgia already has 3 guys who meet that criteria in this class. And that, to me, is a huge anomaly. You got Ellis Robinson, you got Justin Williams, and then for whoever ranks punters, you've got Drew Miller as well. But there are 2 rankings that say Drew Miller is the number 1 punter in the class, as well as Cole's kicking, which is basically the default actual rankings for this sort of thing. If you were to get a kid like Bolden, man, that would give you 4 kids at their position that would be the number 1 player at their position by every single recruiting service. That's insane. I mean, the kid he is talented enough, I agree, to take that jump from F to an A along the way, man. So it's definitely going to be one to watch. We've got it. We got updates on that over at DawgsHQ. We got the signing day special up right now, 50% off or $1 for 1 month. We always run that deal, but we got 50% off your first year right now. So come over and check us out with that. But hopefully we'll be able to get out there and get this thing up and running, man.
Evan Grimes is trying to get some smoke here. Listen, we love Rusty as much as the next person. But if you knew what I know about Rusty Mansell, you wouldn't say this, okay? I'm just joking. We love Rusty. We love Rusty at DawgsHQ. I don't think everybody who knows him loves him, but don't be inadvertently firing strays our way, okay? Rusty didn't have to deal with 26 guys just piling in this morning.
Oh boy.
Hey, I bet, right, honestly, if you wanted to get to Rusty's comparison, I bet it's probably like checking in 400, 500 kids at MVP camp.
No question. Yeah. No question.
Yeah. Absolutely. Rusty's been there. And he will be at Buford High School today for KJ Bolden's commitment. I don't think that or KJ Bolden's final decision. I don't think he's going to be talking with Dylan Raiola a whole lot. I'm sure you'll talk to him, but I'm sure we're not going to, put that in your face on the channel. But in other news for Georgia, Darius Smith headed to Missouri. Jamon Dumas Johnson headed to Kentucky.
Wow, so I missed Darius to Missouri. That's a good
Darius to Missouri. Good for him. His dad listens to his dad's a watcher of what we do over here. And if he's not, we appreciate you, Mr. Darius. And I hope everything goes well for you guys. If you go to Columbia, Missouri, Booch's, okay? Booch's Pool Hall. Great burgers, great little burgers. They're awesome. Y'all make it happen. But listen, hopefully we'll be back with you here in an hour. Hey, we need one more person to jump on this live. We can hit 400. I've got a little OCD.
Hold on. Are we just going to come back late? Are we just coming back at 1? Are we just going to do it, Jake?
I don't know. I don't want to commit to that.
You're not trying to marry yourself to that, huh?
I don't know what I'm going to talk about in an hour if we can't, broadcast KJ Bolden's commitment.
That's fair. Although we could probably watch it somewhere. Let's get off the air. Let's talk about this plan. Guys, we will keep you updated. Follow us on Twitter at DawgsHQ. Myself, Palmer Toms, Rusty Mansell, the whole crew, Jeremy Johnson. Over, check us out, follow us, and we will keep you up to date if we're coming back on this thing live.
I gotta go pick up my Gucci suit from the cleaners, and hopefully I can wear it on the air when I come back. Y'all take it easy.
Thanks.